Take a look at this. Wildfires raging across some of Europe's go-to travel destinations for holiday makers.
Tens of thousands flee as wildfires rage in Europe.
Devastation in parts of France and Spain as the wildfires rage on.
In parts of Europe, the scenes today remained apocalyptic.
In France, more than 250,000 people have already been forced to flee their homes, and in Spain, wildfires have burned out of control around Madrid and in the Valencia region. The dots on this map show every part of Europe being affected by wildfires as I'm recording this now. You can see how clustered they become in the Iberian Peninsula and southern Italy. Two locations Brits have flocked to over the years for their summer holidays. This year's wildfire season is pushing some of Europe's most popular tourist destinations to the brink. So, with temperatures rising across the continent, has the traditional European holiday become a thing of the past? Here's what you need to know. Let's start by looking at France. Over 250,000 people have already been forced to flee their homes, with at least 220,000 of them in the southwestern region of Gironde. France's Interior Ministry says that more than 13,500 fires have swept across 116,000 hectares since January, the highest number on record. Fire crews and planes continue to wrestle with wildfires across the southwest, but a jump in the forecast is coming, likely to complicate firefighting efforts. Whilst in Spain, wildfires have burned out of control around Madrid and in the Valencia region. At least 76,000 people have been evacuated, whilst a further 30,000 at least have been confined to their homes. A fire burning in the hilly rural area of Avila, just west of Madrid, has become Spain's largest on record, scorching at least 50,000 hectares, an area 5 times the size of Barcelona. For the first time ever, Spanish authorities have declared a national emergency for wildfires. So, why are they so bad? Well, let's go back to some primary school science. For fire, you need oxygen, heat, and fuel. Oxygen's in the atmosphere, heat is linked to climate, but let's talk first about fuel, which in this case, of course, is vegetation. Europe had one of its wettest winters, allowing plenty of plants and trees to grow, only to then switch immediately to hot, dry weather, triggering what's called flash droughts. The result? Tinder-dry vegetation. Plus, the countryside isn't as well cared for as it once was. The proportion of people living in rural areas has more than halved in Spain since the 60s, meaning the scrub that acts as kindling is rarely cleared. Now, the long-term fix is what's called containment corridors, like these vineyards acting as fire breaks between forests, but that won't help the situation right now, which is being made worse by the additional heat in our atmosphere, exacerbated, of course, by climate change. This is how temperature rises are forecast to increase the number of days each year that are considered high or extreme risk for wildfires. On the right, you can see how parts of Spain, Portugal and Italy and the Balkans could face more than 40 additional days at risk of wildfires if temperatures increase by 3 degrees. That's forecast to happen by the end of the century. We've already seen the power of fires drive their own weather systems. This is a pyrocumulonimbus, a fire-triggered thunderstorm in France, and they generate their own erratic wind and lightning, making containing fires even tougher. They are relatively common in America and Australia, but before this year they were extremely rare in Europe. Whilst the British government hasn't so far explicitly warned against travelling to, say, France or Spain, the authorities in Gironde have warned tourists not to come. Holidaymakers may increasingly have to factor in wildfire risk into their travel plans, just as they already do with prices, flight times, and the weather. Now let's talk more about that extreme heat. Southern Europe, of course, has always been hot in the summer. It's the reason, after all, that Brits choose to flock there to the beaches to top up your tan. But this heat, scientists at the Copernicus Climate Change say, is different. They've confirmed Western Europe recorded its hottest June on record in 2026. There have been 3 heatwaves so far this year, temperatures hitting 45 degrees. and forecasters say it is only going to get hotter in the long term. Take a look at this graph. It shows that Europe is the fastest warming continent on the planet. In fact, it's warming twice as fast as the global average. Part of this comes down to the large-scale weather patterns, including the jet stream, a fast-flowing channel of air high in the atmosphere that helps set weather systems across Europe. And scientists think climate change might be influencing the behaviour of the jet stream, making weather patterns like the one we're in at the moment more likely to get stuck. When that happens, you get areas of high pressure. The heat gets trapped in, causing what's called a heat dome. It's part of the reason the UK has been so hot this summer. So how is all this changing tourist behaviour? Well, people are starting to think about where they go on holiday. It's led to a rise in what are known as coolcations. Rather than travelling south to escape the UK's stereotypically mild and, yes, often quite drizzly summers, they might end up choosing to head north to escape the heat bearing down on us at home. In fact, a 2023 report by the EU Commission suggests southern coastal regions could see a 10% drop in tourists if summer temperatures to rise by 3 or 4 degrees in the future. And it's not just a matter of where people are choosing to travel, but when they choose to go. Some may opt to travel outside of the peak summer months as travellers respond to concerns surrounding extreme weather events. September bookings appear to be rising strongly across Europe, according to the European Travel Commission. So, is the European holiday over? Well, no, not yet. Millions of people are still going to flock to Spain, Greece, France and the rest for a getaway this year, just as they have done for decades. But what might be ending is the traditional idea of the European summer holiday: reliable sunshine, predictable weather, and the assumption that July and August are the ideal times to travel. As wildfires become more frequent, yearly temperatures climb, and more travellers look for ways to escape the heat, the classic European summer getaway we've known for decades might be about to start changing.